So this video is about actions of leaders. So he wants the talk or the presentation to be about the audience and not about him. So he starts with asking questions to the audience to get them involved. For example, the first one is how many of them witnessed or experienced unethical conduct at school or work. He laughs and asks how many are telling the truth, because either a lot are raising their hand or not many, or there's none at all. He talks about how kids aren't the only people being bullied, the only ones being bullied anymore. He said that bullying is majorly happening in the workforce, with coworkers bullying people, and bosses bullying people as well. An HBR study has revealed that 98% of the employees reported experiencing unethical behavior at work. Common forms of unethical behavior at work, according to the video, are being punished in your review, had your reputation or opportunities undermined, yelled at by boss or coworkers, forced to go along or shut up, and then in quotations he had or else. So if they didn't do that, then they would be punished. Well, said that they would be punished. Those were all questions that he also asked the crowd, like how many of them experienced that or were told that at work. But the audience isn't very into the presentation or very lively. They're not participating very much because they aren't really raising their hands and aren't participating when the questions are asked. According to the presentation, 27% of employees have direct experiences of unethical behavior at work. 72% have witnessed it, and 72% of employers or bosses or employers, same thing, defend that sort of behavior. They just defend themselves or other people who do it as well in the workplace. Leaders of businesses or leaders of just anyone in a workplace, leaders, it says that leaders should care, because 48% of employees decrease work ethic, 47% intentionally decrease time at work, 63% lost work time avoiding offenders or avoiding the offender, 66% said performance declined in a workplace, and 12% said that they left their workplace or quit their job due to the unethical behavior at work. A fun fact on the presentation was that executives spend 15% or 7 weeks of their time dealing with unethical behavior in a workplace. The speaker, he does a lot of leadership teaching, and he says Leadership 101 is don't delegate ethics, which means don't throw away ethics in a workplace. Make sure you have use them at all times. And he talks about being unethical but still being legal. For example, you can be hard on an employer or an employee or a coworker to push them and help them get work done, in my opinion, but you don't have to be rude about it and bully them to where it hurts them mentally, or to where they quit, or to where those 48% decrease their work ethic, to where they intentionally decrease time at work, to where they lost work time avoiding the person who's offending them, to where their performance declines. And I just think that's a big deal, is just being ethical at work, even if you have to be hard on an employee or a coworker just to help them get work done. You just don't have to be rude about it. He also talks about in the video about cases where the boss didn't get in any trouble for bullying, his employees, which to me is sad, because if people stand up for themselves and each other, then the boss of the company should get in trouble, which I think if it happens in a workplace and a boss or a coworker gets in trouble, then less people will stop doing it in workplaces. So I think standing up to a boss or coworker about it and letting people know will help decrease the amount of unethical behaviors in workplaces. I like how in the video he talked about this part, because it made it easier for him for me to relate to things I'm like learning in other classes, and just will help me in my life overall. I also like how he used the graphic to say that legal liability is a law hurdle, meaning it's easy to keep things legal so you don't get in trouble. But ethical liability is a much higher or bigger hurdle and much harder to reach for a lot of people in workplaces. At the end of the video, when he started to wrap things up, he asked if the audience would tolerate bullying of a customer or a student, and if they did, so why wouldn't you as an employee? And he said on the next slide, because as an employee, you shouldn't let the words that a coworker or the boss says to you, because most of the time he's just talking and not walking his talk. So you shouldn't worry about it unless he starts walking the talk that he's been saying and threatening you with. I like this point that he says, because employees shouldn't let hurtful words from their boss affect the way that they work and the way that they feel mentally. He ends his presentation with clearing hurdles, kind of like I just talked about not too long ago, because clearing hurdles in a workplace and will build your leadership and character, and not only that, in the character and quality of your organization. And so I just think it's big, like even no matter how big the hurdle is, you just take a tiny step until you get over that hurdle, because the bigger they are, they might be harder. But if you gradually work yourself up to that hurdle, it will be easier for you to do once. It would be easier for you to get over that hurdle when it comes up.